Together with Earle Sports Bets, yeah, the twins, they be checking in. Stacking up, green is the scene that you're stepping in. Winning is a trend, and we stay making dollars. Nerd talk with the sports bet scholars. Yeah, it's R.I.P. to the bookies. R.I.P. to the bookies. R.I.P. to the bookies. R.I.P. to the bookies.
We are live, and welcome back to another edition of Earle's Place at PimpSlap. During the intro video, we lost Mike, so hopefully he'll be back here in a minute. He was here a second ago during the intro. All of a sudden, his camera disappeared. So hopefully he'll be back in a minute here because that was weird seeing that, watching him disappear. But yeah, we'll head to the chat first, and then we will get into the games. If he's not back in a minute, I'll go over my game first. But picks from Dave about 53 minutes ago said first, second, and third. Yeah, you're late. It's 9:01. Yes. Mike ditching you? No, he was just here a second ago. I don't know where he went. All of a sudden, his camera just disappeared. So fun times there. Yeah, the Earle Slap show. Yeah, just a little Earle Slap there. But looks like I'll be going over my game first. So let's get into the college ranks here. We'll be looking at the Michigan Wolverines and the Penn State Nittany Lions. Wolverines -4. This one now he's messaging me what happened. You dropped out. Join back in. All right, there we go. Michigan -4, total 45 in this game. Big game in the Big Ten matchup here where we have two top 10 teams in the nation. It won't let him. All right, let me resend him the link. Let's see if that works. Technical difficulties. This is what happens with the live show. All right. See if that works for him. But let's get into this game. Now that we've had plenty of distractions and all that fun jazz. Michigan. All right. We have number 10 Penn State, number 3 Michigan. Number 10 Penn State coming in 8-1. They're 7-2 ATS. They're covering numbers. On the other side, we have Michigan, who is 9-0 on the year, but 4-1 ATS. And when we look at who Michigan has played this year, let me know if any of these teams are anywhere remotely close to good. East Carolina, UNLV, Bowling Green, Rutgers, Nebraska, Minnesota, Indiana, Michigan State, Purdue. That is Michigan's schedule for this year so far. On the flip side, we have Penn State, who's actually played with some decent opponents. They beat West Virginia to start off the year with a pretty decent football team. They beat Iowa 31-0, who is 7-2. They did lose to Ohio State 20-12. That was in Ohio State. Now they're at home. They beat Maryland 51-15. When you look at straight the schedule, Penn State has the edge in this game. And for me, my number for this game is a pick. It's a pick 'em here in this spot. Plus, so I got 4.5 and plus 165 here with the Nittany Lions this week. I am on Penn State, and also this let me see what the lines is now because it did go down to a 4 since I bet it. It's at 160 now. Okay, I got 165 and 4.5. It's now 4 and 160. But yeah, I'm on Penn State here in this spot in this game. I have this game should be a pick. Penn State at home. I like him in this spot. And also, I did bet a game. This is going to sound weird. I did bet a game 17 days in advance. Well, hear me out on this one. I like Penn State in this game. So Michigan losing, I think that game in 17 days when they play Ohio State, I got Ohio State at +6. That line, I think, is going to be a 3.5 3-ish by the time that game comes around. So I'm also on Ohio State +6 as an advanced pick here. Kind of correlated, though, because if you like Penn State, then you think that line's going to drop, and you're not going to get that line with Ohio State in a few weeks. So I'm on Penn State here in this spot. Welcome, Mike.
Yeah.
For you to join us.
17 days in advance. I mean, holy shit, there's so much that can happen between now and then, but go get it. Get that number.
Oh, yeah.
I like Penn State here. I think Penn State's a good play here. A lot going on over there in that Michigan barn. And, Penn State's kind of, they didn't get it done against Ohio State, but Michigan's the other of the big three, I'll call it, in the Big Ten. So, I think they bring their best game. I don't know about outright, but I think they can cover that thing. I think it's going to be a lower scoring game. Plus, Michigan's got a ton of distraction going on in that organization right now. So I like it. I like the look. I think it's a low number for a reason, and I think Penn State's the right side of this one.
I like it. We'll get it back into the chat here. There we go. That's if Mike ditched me. Yeah, he ditched me. Can you believe that?
It was weird. It was as soon as you went live there, it kicked me out.
I know. It was weird. I saw him like, oh, great, he disappeared.
And then it wouldn't load. It just kept refreshing and refreshing. So I was like,
there you go.
What a great time to reset. So anyhow, we're up and rocking now.
Yep. Tim's saying Michigan is trash with the X and the M. So there you go. Nice. Penn State outright. ECU elite class. You're full of crap. Thank you. I played a game with my nose called Pick'em. Very good. And Mike better show his tickets.
12 in one day yesterday. See those tickets.
Yeah, there you go. But we'll head into your game now. I had to switch around the games here. We have the Stanford Cardinal taking on the Oregon State Beavers. The Beavers 20.5-point favorites with a total of 54 in this game. Your thoughts on this one here?
Yeah, so the first thing I was looking at with this game is Corvallis is a tough place to play. Oregon State plays incredibly well at home. They've got a tremendous home field advantage, and I think that carries through here when you look at the Stanford team that, borderline checked out for the rest of the season, right? I mean, they still might have one or two fights left in them, but I don't think they get it done here. And then when you kind of dig it back and you look at this thing, the line opened at 19.5. It's now 20.5, and there's even 21 starting to creep out there. We've got 73% of the bets and 86% of the cash pushing on that Oregon State side, and Vegas is moving that number up. So get it while it's hot. That's the whole idea behind the early plays to PimpSlap. And, of course, you guys know I got some numbers behind it to back it up as well. Oregon State, when they're on 6 days of rest or less, and they got a line that's less than 24 points, they are a shocking 11-0 against the spread. They're covered by almost 10 points. So almost a tutty and the field goal on that thing as well. And it's a perfect fit for these guys right now. They're at home. They got a Stanford team that, 3-6 on the season. Certainly not the season they thought they would have. But when was the last time Stanford, at least in football, had a season they thought they would have? Coming off a game. They had a big win against Washington State. They did cover with a lofty number against Washington, but I think they peaked. They got beat up by UCLA. Then they had those two big wins. And I think this is just a tough travel spot for those boys. I think with that Oregon State number at 11-0 against the spread, covered by almost 10 points, give me some Oregon State. Go Beavers.
Yeah, not a game I particularly got to. I had this game priced about right. I have this game around a 20.5. So I think this game is priced correctly. So it's going to be a pass for me for this game. But hey, we'll move on into the NFL ranks. We'll have you kick off here for this one. I'm kind of leaning toward your side here on this game with the Jacksonville Jaguars hosting the San Francisco 49ers. The Niners -3, total 45. Now, the Niners are coming in off of a bye week, if I remember right. So where are you looking at for this one here?
Yeah, look at these numbers, right? So it opened up around a +1. This is a couple weeks back, but we're at +3 now, 43% of the bets and 68% of the cash on the Jaguar side of things. And we have a total that's moving on up the board. We've got 47% of the bets and 64% of the cash on the under, yet it's moved 1.5 in some cases. So, overs to me, when it comes to dog spots, they kind of correlate. You need the dogs to be able to chip those points in there to be able to get the job done to cover those overs. And if they're going to chip those points in there, then they should be in a win and get it done spot here. And if you look at what's going on with the Jaguars, they had that doubleheader in London. They beat Atlanta. Then the surprise of all surprises was that Bills game where they really just shut down that Bills offense from top to bottom. 25-20 was the final score, but Jaguars were never out of control of that game right from the hop. Then they come back and they're in a spot where there's a poor travel situation. They're only laying 4, and they whoop the ever-loving shit out of the Indianapolis Colts. They're getting 2 points against New Orleans. Yeah, it's New Orleans, but they go out there and they win outright by a tutty. And a game they should have lost. It had all the earmarkings of a Mike Tomlin spot at Pittsburgh. They come out there and they win by 10 points as well. Flip side of this thing here, you look at the 49ers. You got them losing to Cincinnati as a favorite, losing by 14 points. You got them losing to Minnesota by a touchdown, or laying a touchdown rather, and losing outright. And they're coming off that big loss against Cleveland where it was back up central. Just not a good spot to be. Now, if you want to put some numbers behind it, when you got a team in the NFL, this is an NFL-wide trend that's coming off of 2 losses or more, but they have 5 wins or more on the season, 93 and 92 in those next games. So it's a coin flip. It's a coin flip spot. But the ultimate dagger for me and what pushed it over the edge is beyond the expectations that Jacksonville has and how they're playing right now. When the Jaguars are a dog and they got a total at 50 points or higher, they are 8-0, both against the spread and straight up. Here's a great spot. Here's a great fit, in my opinion, for a team where as long as the number's not 50 points as the total is concerned, and they're sitting at 45.5 right now. Keep our eyes on it if that number balloons up, but they're a home dog of a +3 for a reason. I wouldn't be surprised to see them win outright. Give me them Jacksonville Jaguars. Go Jags.
Yeah, I'm leaning towards that side as well. I have the Niners around a 1.8 point favorite in this game, so I see a little bit of value here with these Jacksonville Jaguars. Still got to decide whether or not it's going to make my card, but I'm definitely leaning towards Jacksonville in this spot. Both teams coming off of a bye in that one there. We'll move on to another team coming off of a bye, taking on or with the Detroit Lions here. They're 3-point road favorites, total of 48.5 in this game. And for me, this game is kind of interesting because I feel like I know the Chargers have not been what people expected them to be. They're only 4-4 to start the year. And they're taking on this Lions team that's been exceeding expectations so far. But I feel like the Chargers have finally sort of figured it out here. Now they're on back-to-back wins, back-to-back Monday night games, I believe. They played Monday night against the that was a Monday night game against the Bears, right? If I remember right. 29th, it was. No, it was Sunday night, my bad. It was a Sunday night game. Back-to-back primetime games. And they won them both, covering against the Jets and covering against the Bears. And I think this is where the Chargers have kind of turned it around this year. And my numbers present a really nice edge here with the Chargers in this spot here because I have them around a 1.5 point favorite in this game. And we're getting 3 points in this one. I bet this earlier. I said the hell with the points, though. I'm going to take them just outright plus 135. I see nice value here. And I feel like we've seen Detroit kind of overachieve a little bit so far this season. I think we should expect some regression from Detroit, and I think this is a nice spot here for the Chargers. I have the wrong team favored in this spot, in my opinion.
Wow, I'll tell you what, bold take and an interesting look because I kind of, it's got to do with the data going into the situation, and to say that they've overachieved or that they've beaten expectations, I don't know if I agree with that one here. And specifically, if you look at the team that was the most odds-on favorite to make the Super Bowl this season, the biggest fan favorite right up to the start of the NFL season was the Detroit Lions. So everybody expected them to go out there and hammer down, and they have hammered down at that. The only recent loss that they have in their arsenal here is against those Baltimore Ravens. And yeah, it was a bad beatdown at 38-6, but the Ravens are one of those odds-on favorites now to make it to the Super Bowl as well. So everyone's saying they're the best team in the NFL. I think they might be the second best team at best because we all know who is the best, and it starts with
it's the
two
Chiefs.
words.
Two
words is their leader.
Red Kingdom. Yes, moving on.
But that being said, I don't know if I can get there. The Chargers is a home dog. They're a dog for a reason, and it kind of concerns me. I do like that movement, though. You got 6 points of movement from the original opening there. The look ahead line at -3 to a +3 now feels like it might have swayed a little too much. But I don't know if the Lions can go on the road. Let's also not forget that it's a return to the scene of the crime for Jared Goff. There, granted, it wasn't the Chargers. It's the Rams that he left from, but SoFi Stadium guy. He knows the ins and outs of that stadium, and maybe there's a little motivation for him to go back there and wow in front of his family and friends. So we'll see how that thing works out here. But I don't know if I can get there with the Chargers on the money line. I would take the 3 points, though. I don't mind those 3 points.
Yeah, I mean, I might get involved with the 3 as well. I just grabbed the money line for one of my full NFL bets. But also one last point I'll point out with the Lions, and we'll move on to teaser time in here is they're 6-2. I'll give them credit. Their week 1 win was a really solid opponent with the Chiefs. They're arguably the best team in football there, the Kansas City Chiefs. But when you look at their other 5 wins, the Falcons, the Packers, the Panthers, the Buccaneers, and the Raiders.
Can only play who's in front of you.
I know. And when they played legitimate teams, Baltimore kicked the crap out of them, and Seattle won in overtime. And they won by 1 point against Detroit or against KC week 1 with no Chris Jones. So this is a spot here where I think the strength of schedule is going to come back to bite these Lions as well. But we'll head back to the chat, and then we'll get into teaser time. Tim kind of likes the 49ers. Both teams off of a bye. Yeah. Sharks money line tomorrow. Please stop. I've already bet the Edmonton puck line. I've already bet Edmonton's going to drop 6 goals on them tomorrow.
The number is 10 for all those out there. When you see a team that goes on a 10-game streak of any sort, you got to start going the other way. And it was very much that case. I think I sent you guys something in our group chat earlier today. I was like, you're not a true Flyers fan if you were surprised or disappointed that.
I got to say that was. But I watched like the second half of that game. That was one of the most dominating performances I've ever seen for a team that lost a hockey game. Like it was, the Sharks looked soft. They look matched. They were outshot. They were outchanced, and they won 2-1 because Mackenzie Blackwood turned into Patrick Waugh for a night. Mm-hmm. And then Tim saying Ravens and their best player, running back Keaton Mitchell. Yeah, remember that name. But huh?
I said, get that jersey out.
Oh yeah, no, I need one of those when he was with the
Mitchell jersey.
Yeah, with the purple and gold of East Carolina. That's what he's referencing there. But it's teaser time here, and we'll let you go first, and we'll be talking about my boy Keaton Mitchell's team for you here in this one.
Yeah, so I was doing great with college teasers, and I forgot who it was that I was listening to. It was like, don't tease in college, and I couldn't disagree more. Teasers, they've been incredibly profitable for me on the primetime spots and trying to single games. But the NFL got me last week, and I'm going to go back to the scene of the crime here, so to speak, and it's a double whacker for me. So the first leg of the teaser is going to be the Baltimore Ravens. I like the Ravens here to win outright. That's really what it's going to come down to because it's a 6-point spread right now, so the Baltimore side becomes a pick 'em. Just need them to win. Baltimore, when they're on less than 6 days of rest, they're 9-3 straight up, 7-5 though against the spread. The number for me that kind of pushed it over the edge is how bad Cleveland is when they're in a rematch spot against the division. Unbelievable situation there, and I can't see that there it is. Cleveland in a rematch spot, 4-20 against the spread going back to 2015. Not a good spot for Cleveland. As far as the spread's concerned, I like that Ravens -6, but put it in the teaser for me at a pick 'em. Got to go there. The second leg of this puppy is going to be the Cincinnati Bengals for me. I like what's going on with Joey Burrow. I think he is ascending the leaderboard. He is ascending the opera. The game they just played against the Bills opened up the opportunity to become a top 5 contender. And I gave out a play earlier today. I said, I think one of the Super Bowl matchups is going to be Cincinnati versus Philadelphia. That's a 25-1 payout. I think since he's got the runway in front of him, and I think this is kind of that Tom Brady, Peyton Manning-esque matchups here where you've got Joey Burrow and you got Patrick Mahomes. And the only way that's not going to be one or the other is if a sleeper comes out of there out of nowhere. But in this case here, for this teaser, for this leg, I got Cincinnati as a -0.5 point spot. Again, I think they win this game comfortably out front. I think it's going to be led by a huge game. I think it's a 300-yard plus game out of Joey Burrow, and they're just going to cover this thing from top to bottom. So, again, it's basically a pick 'em at that -0.5. Just need them to win. Of course, they go to overtime and tie it. I'm going to lose this thing, but I don't think that's the case here. I think the Bengals get the job done outright.
Yeah, I am leaning a little bit towards the Bengals in that spot there. I'm actually leaning the opposite way with that Browns game a little bit though. My numbers have that game around a 4.5, so I see a little bit of value there with the Browns. But looking at your Super Bowl futures there, I'm actually looking at. I was actually kind of interested in Cleveland at 18-1. As you said, a sleeper team. I think that they're a decent sleeper team. Actually, when you look at it, they have, as long as they can get halfway competent quarterback play from Deshaun Watson, which is sometimes asking a lot. I'm aware of that. They've won the best defenses in football, and I think when it comes to playoff time, that defense can help them win games. So if you're looking for a wild card team with upside, I think the Cleveland Browns could be that team. And I'm kind of hoping that the Bengals start playing a little bit better too. So maybe I can get a better price for the Chiefs as well, for Super Bowl futures for the Chiefs. Because if the Bengals are starting to look like a little bit of a threat, maybe they'll lower the odds on KC, and I can get a better number than plus 240 to win the AFC. So that's kind of where I'm looking at when you mentioned your Bengals Super Bowl futures. I'm looking at a couple other teams. But my turn here with my teaser. And you guys know my rules when it comes to my teasers. I only tease through certain numbers. And these are the teams that fit the bill for me this week that I actually like. I've already bet the Vikings money line this week. Joshua Dobbs in his first full game here with the Minnesota Vikings. He looked good in that relief role against the Falcons. Granted, it was the Falcons. So I don't know how much to read into that because the Falcons are really not a good team and they don't really cover numbers. But I have the wrong team favored in that Vikings matchup. I have the Vikings as a favorite in that game against the Saints. I don't know why the Saints are laying points on the road here. I think it's just an overreaction for the quarterback situation for the Vikings, which I think they're just fine. And it looks like they're potentially getting Justin Jefferson back. So I do like the Vikings here getting the 8.5, getting up through the 3, 4, 6, and 7. Give me a little bit of Vikings there. The second leg for me will be on Monday night. And this will allow me to maybe make some plays other ways and things along those lines. I like the Bills minus 7.5 in general in that game. Generally, those 7.5 numbers tell me a team's going to win by double digits. So that's kind of where I would look in that game. I have that game around a 9.5. So I do think there's value on the Bills on that Monday night game against the Broncos. I'm just going to get them down through the 7, 6, 4, and 3 down to the 1.5, asking them basically to win this game outright. I'm going to be on the Bills minus 1.5 here as the final leg of it with the Vikings plus 8.5.
Yeah, I think the Bills either win that game by 10, 12 points or they lose outright. So makes a lot of sense, And Denver, surprise, surprise, saw a stat that really was a surprise to me last week where they were showing the head-to-head numbers of the Mahomes record this season and his completions and his touchdowns and his yards versus that of Russell Wilson. As much as I think Russell Wilson's a bum, he's got better numbers than Patrick Mahomes right now. So surprised that we haven't heard more about that other than that fact that they came out there and beat down on them Kansas City Chiefs. But look, I don't think the weather's going to be a factor. They're used to playing in the cold in Denver. They're used to playing in the elements. Western New York, it's going to be cold. It's going to be elements. And it's a Monday night special. So the place is going to be rocking. Bills fans, Bills Mafia is going to be ready to rock. It's either a double-digit win or they get surprised and lose outright as well. I do think nagging injuries to Josh Allen that we really haven't heard much about. So maybe it's a UCL thing. I'm not entirely sure. But I wouldn't be surprised to see him, again, put boots to ass or get blown out outright. So we'll see what happens. I like the 1.5, though, in the teaser. I like that Viking spot, too. I think I'm a big fan of Dobbs. I think he's a journeyman that's, done nothing but prove everybody that he can win in the situations they give him. They give him the worst possible situations. No prep, no rest, no practice. I said earlier, the guy didn't even know.
The guy still goes in and dominates. Like, he looked great last week. He looked great. So, yeah, I get that. We'll head back to the chat, which is all Tim. Saying Ravens and Cowboys. Please get out of here with that Dallas Cowboys crap. That's one thing that Mike and I can both agree with. Me as a Giants fan, Mike as an Eagles fan, is fuck the Cowboys.
That's right.
That is one thing we can agree on. No. I'll tell you. I will tell you when I will bet a Dallas Cowboys Super Bowl future, and I've said this before. When Jerry Jones is 6 feet underground, the first year that he is gone, they will win the Super Bowl. As long as he is alive, they will not win the Super Bowl, and I will die on that hill. Or he says, or Ravens versus Vikings, Dobbs for MVP.
What are we just trying to say random shit that's never going to happen? All right.
I think he's on crack. Broncos money. He's still on crack. Broncos money line. No.
Las Vegas, right? The Raiders versus, Jacksonville Jaguars. There you go. There's a good one.
I mean, if we're getting crazy, we'll throw the Giants in there against the Patriots. We'll have round 3 of that. That sounds like fun. But no. But that is all. Oh, I did not mean to do that. There we go. That is all of all the plays that we're going to go over. Quick little recap, and then we'll head on out here. Mike, your plays for this week.
Yeah. So we got the Oregon State Beavers. Carvallis is going to be popping. DJU is ready to roll, and they're going to put the smackdown on Stanford. Minus 20.5 for me on that Oregon State Beavers. Go Beavers. We're going to rock over to the NFL. Got some great spots I like there. I love this Jaguar spot +3. I think they're a live dog at home to get it done coming off that bye against another team off a bye. In them struggling San Francisco 49ers. Do they get it right on the bye? I don't think so. I think it's a Jaguar spot. Give me some Trevor. Give me 2 touchdowns plus out of our guy as well. In the running back position, he's done it every week, it seems like here. And then it's teaser time, baby. Going with the Ravens as a pick 'em. Just need to win. Bengals just need them to win as well. I like that teaser a lot. Pick 'em and a -0.5. Let's go. Let's get that cash.
Yeah. And for me, we're going to kick it off with we are Penn State plus the points and money line. Yep. And then I'm going to go to another doggy I like here, the LA Chargers against those Detroit Lions, the Motor City Kitties there. And then we're going to finish off a little teaser time with the Vikings plus the 8.5 and the Bills minus 1.5. We'll head over to the chat here, and then we will head on out here. Tim saying Raiders, Jets money line versus the Raiders. I'm staying off the side in that game. I've already bet the under. Go Beavers.
Go Beavers.
And then and then Ramon Scott saying my PimpSlap stat of the day is going down hard. Eastern Michigan 21-1 as a MAC road dog coming in off of an over the last 7 years. Dang.
Wow, that's a nice little number. I'm glad I didn't see that one earlier because that would have definitely compromised the plays that I was looking at there. It's tough to see that. I certainly don't want to see it go down, but a couple of these big favorites are built to be big favorites, and I know Toledo's one of them. I know Miami of Ohio is another one, but Toledo, when they're covering a spread between 7 and 20 points, 24 points, 7 and 24 points. I forgot the number exactly, but it was a lot. They were winning a lot of those spots. They are built to pound teams down in a subpar division. Eastern Michigan is not them. But hey, you know what? It's only halftime. There's still a chance. You're still alive, Ramon Scott. Let's go, baby.
There you go. Tim's saying, by the way, everyone, go blindly bet Pacers over every game. I did cash with the Utah-Indiana over. I only bet 2 games in the NBA today out of this big card. I'm very selective. I had the over in the Pacers game, and I'm sitting on the Brooklyn Nets +5 and +160. They are currently up 10 with 6:45 to go. So that's looking nice there. And Kirk Gray saying, thoughts on UNLV -21. Let me get up my spreadsheet, and I'll let you know what I have for that game. Real quick before we head on out here.
Go Sixers, baby. Sixers 3-point dogs, 3-point winners.
I was looking at them. Yeah. Tim and I had a little argument on that game this morning. I never ended up betting it, but I wanted to bet the Sixers because my numbers had the wrong team favorite, but Tim had the Celtics as the best bet today, which I wasn't too thrilled about.
Bet.
I know, right?
Credibility check right there. Credibility check.
Yeah. But by the way, Kirk Gray, I was leaning to my numbers have this game at an 18.5. And so I would lean towards taking the points with the Southern Jaguars. That's kind of where I'd look there. Sim saying the Celtics are trash. Celtics -2 best bet goes down. I could have told you that this morning. So Seattle -16. I have them at a 15.5. So I think that line's about right as well. I have nothing in college basketball tonight. But that is everything for today's show. We are right underneath that half an hour mark. So good job there. But that is going to do it for this one. We will be words. We will be back next week, same time, same place, with some more early plays to PimpSlap. Good luck, everybody.